In chapter 6 of the Gospel according to St. John, Jesus talks about what is known as the Bread of Life discourse. He talks about how when the Jewish people were in the desert, manna was found from heaven. And Jesus said, yet when they ate the manna, they were fed, but eventually they all died. What God intends to do is bring down a new kind of manna, a bread from heaven. This bread from heaven will give you eternal life. And then he proclaimed, I am the bread from heaven. I am the bread of life. And then he started to say even more specifically, he who eats my flesh and drinks my blood will live forever. They said, this is getting really weird. This is hard for us to understand. And he says, let me make it clearer. If you don't eat my body and drink my blood, you will not have life within you. After a while, they started to say, this teaching is still too hard. I'd never heard anything like this before. And they began to walk away. Jesus could have changed his mind at that moment. He could have said, you know what, I'm just kidding. I'm just doing an analogy. I'm just making a parable. I was just doing poetry. But he didn't say all those. He said, that's what I meant. And he turned and he looked at Peter. And he said, Peter, are you going to leave too? Peter said, where would I go, Lord? You alone have the words of everlasting life. Jesus was showing us that he was very sincere. When he spoke about eating his body and blood, we know now he was talking about the Eucharist, a great gift given to us that truly becomes his body and blood, even though it seems like bread and wine. And yet in these Eucharistic miracles, it changes in appearance to remind us of its true identity, the reality that it really is Jesus.